Greetings everyone and a warm welcome. Hey guys, this is August 2017 Earth Prediction Series using the Psi cards, as you can see here. These cards were devised with the energies of collective consciousness. So when we do a reading for these, that's the energy that we are pulling on. I utilize these cards for my global prediction series, just collectively utilizing the mass energy messages that are floating out there. It's a little bit like imbuing remote viewing into a reading. So just a little bit more shuffling and we will see what August 2017 has in store. We know it is potentially going to be a big month astronomically, because we have the two eclipses occurring, the lunar and then the solar. The first is on the 7th of August and the second one is on the 21st. Now the main solar eclipse on the 21st crosses through the middle part of America, the United States of America. So the first card we see there is Fortune. The second card is the Scales. The third card is Destruction. The fourth card is the Stranger. The fifth card is the Beauty. The sixth card is Liberation. And I'll finish off with one more, and it's the Home card. Okay, the one that we haven't seen out in quite a while, which I'm pleased to say hasn't turned up for a long time, is in fact the Destruction card. Not dissimilar to the tarot energies of the Tower card, the Destruction card has a similar kind of feeling, but with a slightly more intense feeling. But let's work through from the left, which is the very beginning card that came out, the Fortune card. It's been turning up a little bit more frequently lately. In the last couple of readings, I believe it was here once. It shows a man walking up a staircase with an illuminated lamp on, and as he traverses that staircase, he will come up to the top where there is a chest of open treasure. If you were reading these cards in the normal circumstances of the Psi card evaluation series, it would predict good fortune coming. However, I have devised this system to be read slightly different with this prediction series. So that Fortune card can often mean ill fortune or ill gains or issues around finances. So instead of them spiraling up, we can see some sort of glitch. So globally in August there could be a problem with finances. One particular country or another may see a drop in their finances. There could also be something to do with oil, because I'm thinking it spirals out of the ground like an oil well. So there could be something about oil in the month of August, whether or not there is a propensity for a problem with oil itself, as in the manifestation of a leak or a big burnout or a signing of a deal where there's a problem and something is prevented from going through, or whether oil prices drop. That would be my main consideration around oil, but overall finances might take some sort of a turn for the negative, and it could be any country. I'm not sure which country it's likely to be. The next card we come to, the Scales card, is often talking about balance required, so things being very out of balance, the juxtaposition of power not being equal, and that needing to be brought back into balance. So this can mean literally legal issues, so there could be a lot of signing of documents or some form of balance of power being brought back in the month of August. Again, it's hard to say exactly who this is going to be affecting or referring to. This is a global reading, it's not a specific reading. But given that the eclipse happens across the energies of America, and eclipses are all about the hidden things that are allowed to open up or be revealed during the time of an eclipse. This could be about bringing some sort of balance back into areas within the United States of America, whether it's political or people balance, like social balance. The other thing it can literally refer are things going to the law courts and being adjudicated on. Big issues, so global issues possibly. And again, this could be through any country. It could be through the EU. It could be through America. It could be through other countries such as Russia. Something to keep our eyes on and to think about. The scales also refers to me of shaking and things dropping out of balance again. We see here that there are apples on these scales, but there are some on the ground. So they have fallen from something. So the card often represents earthquakes, so quake activity. The apples, to me in the past, this card has often represented the southern hemisphere, and sometimes even New Zealand. However, as we're moving into the northern hemisphere's latter part of summer, we start to get into their harvest period. So it could also be referring to quakes in the northern hemisphere. And usually when this card turns up, they're relatively strong quakes. So, we're not just talking little ones here, we're talking something noticeable occurring. I haven't yet been able to decide if it's northern or southern hemisphere. Perhaps there are two quakes. Perhaps there are two large quakes in August, one in each hemisphere. There could be more than two. We come to the destruction card, and it's almost self-explanatory. You see there a tower on fire in the background. There are warring characters in the front. There is a lot of death, hand-to-hand combat, people in a great despair and fighting and destruction. It's not a pleasant card. It does symbolise warring factions. Given that the card next to it is the Stranger, which I often tie into communist country energy, it feels as if somehow a communist country, or this is a bit hard here, some people feel that Russia is not a communist country anymore, but I'm talking about the type of energies that some countries give off, where they have a background communist energetic feel. So whether or not Russia is involved here, or more on my mind, is North Korea. So there could be something that actually takes a move with North Korea. And remember too, China is also has a communist energetic tie to it. So it could be any of those three major countries that hold activity around warring energies. So it feels like that someone does actually bring about a fighting tendency. So whether this is Kim Jun Un launching a trajectory that actually does attempt to hit a country, or whether a war is started between him and another country. It could even be his own allies, such as China. I haven't looked into it enough, but there does feel to be this warring energy for August. It could be the start of the beginning of a longer term war coming, like a Cold War or an extended period of fighting between nations. The other thing that the destruction card shows us is a tower on fire. When this card has turned up in the past, I have noticed that large buildings, essentially towers, can sometimes end up being on fire. Not dissimilar to the Grenfell Tower issue that happened in June. So we'll have to keep our eye on that one as well.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...
We come to the beauty card, a relatively benign looking card, and often in real terms it is. It's one of the easier ones in the deck. It often refers to people such as celebrities or political leaders, and sometimes female political leaders, or queens, and sovereignty. energies along those lines. It often refers to the older parts of the globe, and when I say that, I'm also referring to parts of the globe that have been established with humans for longer than other parts, such as Europe, sometimes even more specifically England, and even more specifically London. So there could be something about a beauty or a female of political or royalty background that has something come to the limelight in August and is unusual for them. So it brings attention to something in the news. So keep our eyes out for that. Celebrities as in movie stars, pop singers, music people, and as I say, political figures and royalty. We come down here to liberation, and we see a snake in the foreground on a path, and I often think this card refers to Australia one way or another. So for August, Australia might be in the news, and it could be for various different reasons. Politically, they might be active, or they might have problems. It could be weather patterns that besiege them one way or another, because in the background we have a very fast flowing running water. Sometimes we see this card turn up for Australia when they have a very massive flood or storm event that occurs. So there's that possibility as well. When I see the home card, I've talked about this before, it's really been out a lot lately. It often refers to my home, which is New Zealand. So there can be issues with us in my country. It can be political, it can be geographical or geological, and it can be weather related as well. So storms, fire issues, it can be earthquakes, and I talked about earthquakes up here, so we have a double whammy here. So we could see quake activity in New Zealand higher than normal. That means a larger number than usual, or a larger velocity quake than usual. So there we are, guys. That, oh, and also fires again down here, and fires in the home. So we've also got two messages of that as well. So there's your Earth Prediction Psi series for August for 2017. And remember too, all of your input is gratefully received, because each person's idea along the avenue of these cards and how they feel about them and their interpretations is also going towards the overall ideology of how these cards work for this particular Earth Global Prediction series. So I do value your comments and your input and your own specific ideas about a card and its energy. So thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great, safe, happy August ahead, because it is going to be an active one. Namaste, everyone.